The mighty figures of the chaos and primordial chaos trembled in fear and anger at primordial despair's power and the dark forbidden lord's arrogance. Primordial despair was naturally not so powerful. He only obtained a trace of Hanju's power. We have no way out. Put down our fear and fight to the death. The ultimate god of punishment's voice sounded. He had greater influence than Han Huang and Zhao Shuangquan. After all, he was the highest existence in the chaos, the leader of the gods. Great Tao divine spirits and divine punishers began to mobilize their divine power. The 3,000 Great Tao and the 7 supreme rules trembled. Countless powers poured down and landed on all the Great Tao sages present. Hanju watched with relish and was not in a hurry to attack. Clearly, the 9th chaos was supporting them from behind the scenes. Otherwise, even a Great Tao divine spirit would find it difficult to borrow such a strong power of rules. The ultimate god of punishment even summoned 50,000 divine authority generals. The chaotic consciousness clone summoned 100,000 destruction authority generals. More and more figures surrounded primordial despair. Swish! The sound of air being torn apart sounded. A red arrow was shot at Hanju. It was so fast that even primordial despair didn't have time to react. Unfortunately, just as it was about to touch Hanju, it dissipated and didn't cause any damage. What? Hanyu was moved. He had used his full strength, and it was an unexpected arrow. Dao Sovereign, Zhao Xinyuan, and Jiang Yi appeared behind Su Qi. Zhao Xinyuan reached out to grab him, while Dao Sovereign and Jiang used the power of the Great Dao World to attack Hanju. The 2 Great Dao Worlds shrank in their palms and shot out with their palms. Like Hanye's arrows, they automatically dissipated when they were about to touch Hanju. Dao Sovereign and Jiang Yi's hearts beat wildly when they saw Hanju's scarlet eyes. Oh no! I can't bring him away! Zhao Xinyuan said anxiously, his tone revealing unprecedented panic. Dodge! Dao Sovereign immediately ordered. The 3 brothers suddenly moved. However, the moment they did so, they were hit by a terrifying force and fell through the spatial river, disappearing into the spatial turbulence. Hanju turned around and discovered that countless mystical powers were attacking from all directions. Dazzling light of all colors filled the dark void. Primordial despair opened his mouth and suddenly sucked in all the mystical powers. The 1,000,000-foot-tall divine authority generals and destruction authority generals were really as tiny as ants in the face of primordial despair. The ultimate god of punishment and the chaotic consciousness avatar continued to cast spells, creating more and more divine authority generals and destruction authority generals. They rushed up one after another. The scene was spectacular. Hanju watched the battle with relish as he sat on primordial despair's head. Let all living beings see your ability. Hanju's voice sounded. He used the dream, entering mystical power to cover all living beings. From now on, anyone who entered the dream could watch the battle. For a time, the entire chaos stirred. After the news spread, more and more living beings entered their dreams to watch the battle. Even many disciples of the darkness sect stopped what they were doing to watch the battle. They wanted to see the dark forbidden lord's true strength. Han Huang, primordial origin, and Huang Zuntian, the 3 primordial fiend celestials, attacked primordial despair. They used their mystical powers and wanted to suppress it. Primordial despair, who had obtained the power of the Lord, was extremely violent. As his figure trembled, he emitted endless negative karma that transformed into waves that swept in all directions. Han Huang and the other 2 were forced back. Han Ling appeared above and bent down to look down at primordial despair. She was like a god looking down at the evil devils in the mortal world. Emperor soldiers swooped down like a rain of arrows, targeting Hanju. Primordial Despair's 18 eyes looked up. Blood-colored pillars of light shot out. There were countless of them, and they destroyed one Emperor soldier after another. In less than 2 breaths of time, 10 million Emperor soldiers were all destroyed. The situation was grave. The Dark Forbidden Lord had yet to make a move. Just Primordial Despair alone made the Chaos and Primordial Chaos helpless. Han Huang was furious. He couldn't approach the Dark Forbidden Lord. He was going mad. He had no choice but to use the mysterious power that he had not used for a long time. Ultimate Origin Power. Hanju felt that someone was borrowing his power and ignored it. What would happen if Han Huang used the Ultimate Origin Power? The current Hanju was a Creator Lord. Han Huang's expression changed drastically. It actually failed. In the third Dao field, Xing Hongshen, Xian Qingjun, Dao Comprehension Sword, and the other Dao companions were watching the battle. It's not optimistic. They can't do anything to Primordial Despair even with so many mighty figures attacking together, Dao Comprehension Sword said worriedly. Xing Hongshen frowned at Primordial Despair. For some reason, she had a subtle feeling. Although this fellow was ferocious, she couldn't hate him no matter what. Could it be because Primordial Despair was created by Han Huang? From the looks of it, the difference is indeed huge. Only someone at your level can turn the tide. Xian Qingjun sighed. The chaos was filled with capable people. In the past, Han Huang fighting all the living beings alone was already shocking enough. He didn't expect the Dark Forbidden Lord to appear and for him to be so strong. As the women discussed, the final battle changed. Casualties began to appear on the chaos side. Primordial Despair stretched out a long tongue. Like a torrent of fate, it swept into. This sudden change truly made the chaos feel despair. The 3 Primordial Fiend Celestials and the 9 Chaos surrounded Primordial Despair, but they didn't cause any damage. They would definitely lose at this rate. Zhou Song smiled bitterly. The difference is too great. Su Qi was silent. He was not in despair, because he had always had hope. That was his master. As long as his master took action, the trouble that the chaos and primordial chaos could not resolve would definitely be resolved. How long are you going to watch the show? Hanju's voice sounded, moving the mighty figures fighting. Dao creators? Was that a realm above the great Dao? Supreme? Han Huang's expression darkened. Could it be that there were many existences at that realm? Humph! A cold snort shook the Dao hearts of all the great Dao Supremes. The darkness above was torn apart. A pair of eyes countless times larger than primordial despair appeared. They were like the eyes of the heavens, cold and dignified. Dao Creator, Shurtion's immeasurable destruction venerable. Primordial despair did not care about the Dao Creator. He was still frantically harvesting the great Dao sages, forcing them to continue dealing with him before they could be shocked by Shurtion's immeasurable destruction venerable's appearance. Shurtion's creator, immeasurable destruction venerable. I didn't expect you to be the first to stand out. Hanju's indifferent identity reveal shocked everyone from Shurtion. Shurtion's immeasurable destruction venerable snorted. Dark Forbidden Lord, you want to change the great Dao immeasurable calamity? This is a path that leads to death. The eyes disappeared as soon as he finished speaking. A huge palm that was as vast as the chaos landed. This scene reminded Han Huang of his father in the simulation trial. Indeed, he was on the same level as his father. The Tao creator's power shocked all living beings. They even forgot their surprise. Shurtion's immeasurable destruction Venerable's huge hand stretched towards primordial despair as if it wanted to grab him out of the chaos. The huge primordial despair was even smaller than a speck of sand in front of this hand. This was the first time primordial despair was afraid. It let out a low roar and trembled. Su Qi and Zhou Song raised their heads and were dumbfounded. They couldn't believe their eyes. What kind of power was this? Could cultivation really reach this level? This was the thought of all the mighty figures present. Hanju didn't stand up. He raised his right hand and grabbed at the sky. In an instant, Shurtion's immeasurable destruction Venerable's huge hand seemed to be grabbed by an invisible force and distorted. Then, it shattered and dissipated like smoke. This scene pulled all the mighty figures back to their senses. Impossible! Even the Tao creator above the great Tao couldn't do anything to the Dark Forbidden Lord? Shurtion's immeasurable destruction Venerable did not say anything. At this moment, he was also very shocked, but he was too embarrassed to show it in front of all living beings. Primordial despair went mad again after the Tao creator's threat disappeared. His tongue, which was larger than the galaxy, quickly swept over dozens of great Tao sages and swallowed them. The mighty figures became nervous again. Don't stop! Kill! Your target is primordial despair. Leave the Dark Forbidden Lord to us. Zhao Shuangchuan shouted angrily. He wanted to use his anger to suppress his panic. How could the people below fight if they panicked? For a time, the chaotic battle erupted again. However, facing the powerful and invincible Dark Forbidden Lord and primordial despair, even if the mighty figures tried their best, it was useless. The living beings watching the battle in the dream became more and more afraid and desperate. Was the chaos really about to perish? In the blank domain, the Tao creators gathered under the divine tree where the ninth chaos was cultivating. Hanju's clone also came. He was summoned by the ninth chaos in his dreams, so he left the clone in the third Tao field and rushed over. Through it, the chaotic consciousness, the formless, transcendent deity, Shurtion's immeasurable destruction Venerable, and the yin-yang, purity nirvana deity all came. They were all silent as they looked at the ninth chaos. Hanju was expressionless, but he was teasing in his heart. I'll watch as you plot against me. The ninth chaos said, the greatest danger to the chaos has arrived. That Dark Forbidden Lord is far stronger than ordinary Tao creators. Ordinary Tao creators. Shurtion's immeasurable destruction. Venerable's expression was ugly. He saw Hanju's gaze and was even more humiliated. The formless transcendent deity asked, "Can you deal with him?" The ninth chaos said, "I'm not confident." He had always underestimated the Dark Forbidden Lord, but he was shocked after seeing him easily break through the creation power of Shurtion's immeasurable destruction Venerable. Impossible! One had to know that even the ninth chaos couldn't do it so easily. That huge hand was not a mystical power. It was the hand of Shurtion's immeasurable destruction Venerable's supreme treasure. With his body as a supreme treasure, it was very difficult to destroy it in one strike. Since it's so dangerous, I should hide in the Tao field. Everyone knows that my Tao field is very impressive. I can still survive. Hanju frowned. Shurtion's immeasurable destruction Venerable said angrily, "How can you retreat at such a critical moment? How long can you hide? That Dark Forbidden Lord is hiding so deeply. He will find your Great Tao World sooner or later." Hanju's Great Tao World had always been in the blank domain. All the Tao creators knew. The formless transcendent deity was puzzled. Could it be that Hanju really wanted to hide? Thinking about his past, it was really possible. But if that was the case, what would happen? To the formless transcendent deity? The chaotic consciousness said in a low voice. We have to fight. We will join forces to fight the Dark Forbidden Lord. I suspect that if the Dark Forbidden Lord opens the Dark Era, he will definitely be stronger, even strong enough to kill a Tao creator. The yin-yang purity nirvana deity remained silent. The ninth chaos said, that's right, that's indeed the case. To be honest, I've been trying to surpass the Tao creator realm, but I haven't succeeded. The Dark Forbidden Lord probably has the same goal. I don't know how he succeeded. What I can confirm is that it's related to the Dark Era. A higher realm. The four Tao creators' hearts were heavy. Hanju was also acting. The ninth chaos scanned them and said, I'll give you one last chance to choose if you want to participate. If you succeed, I'll tell you the method to attain a higher realm. Choose. The chaotic consciousness ensured Tion's immeasurable destruction. Venerable chose to participate. The formless transcendent deity and the yin-yang purity nirvana deity looked at Hanju, showing their cards. Hanju said, you guys fight first. I need time. I'm about to break through. I will have a higher chance of winning when I successfully break through. Breakthrough? The Tao creators looked at him in surprise. The ninth chaos thought to himself, is he going to break through to the late stage? How fast? He had never fought with Hanju, but since the latter could suppress the yin-yang purity nirvana deity, he must be at the mid-stage. As for the late stage, how could he be so fast? Now, Hanju could only break through to the late-stage Tao creator realm. How long had the chaos been born? The ninth chaos had stayed in the Tao creator realm for so long. Just a minor realm took 1 trillion years or even longer. How long had Hanju been born in this life? There was a limit to his potential no matter how stunning it was. The formless transcendent deity and the yin-yang purity nirvana deity could only choose to participate. The ninth chaos didn't make things difficult for him. Hanju left. The ninth chaos said, let's go and think of a way to move the Dark Forbidden Lord out of the chaos to fight. The four Tao creators had no objections. They rushed to the chaos together. Speaking of which, this was the first time they fought side by side. Their emotions were extremely subtle. They realized that their supreme era was about to end. It was already like this now. When the endless era arrived, there would definitely be more rising stars and more Tao creators. Especially after the ninth chaos successfully broke through, the Tao creator realm would no longer be the strongest and their status would naturally decrease. Thinking of this, they felt pity. After fighting openly and secretly for so many years, it was meaningless. On the other side, more and more great Tao sages died in the primordial despair's mouth. His cultivation level of despair also rapidly increased. The three primordial fiend celestials and the nine chaos were still thinking of ways to deal with the Dark Forbidden Lord, but they couldn't touch Hanju at all. At this moment, Hanju suddenly stood up. He sensed the aura of the Tao creators. Finally! He waited for a long time. He could fight the 5 Tao creators alone. All the mighty figures fighting instantly became nervous upon seeing the Dark Forbidden Lord stand up. The Dark Forbidden Lord was preparing to attack. The scene of the Dark Forbidden Lord easily destroying the chaotic giant hand was still vivid in their minds, making them shiver. The 3 primordial fiend celestials attacked again. They used their strongest mystical powers and attacked with all their might. Boom! The three primordial fiend celestials were forced back. Their bodies were destroyed, leaving only their souls flying to the end of the dark void. Han Yi, did you notice that the Dark Forbidden Lord didn't kill you? Han Yao and Han Yi attacked primordial despair together and sent a voice transmission. Han Yi frowned. He had also noticed this. No matter how those top mighty figures attacked the Dark Forbidden Lord, they did not die. What was the destruction of the body to a great Tao Supreme? What was the Dark Forbidden Lord trying to do? Han Yi didn't think that the Dark Forbidden Lord had good intentions and definitely had ulterior motives. What was he coveting? All of you can continue fighting primordial despair. I'll give it some power. As for me, I have to deal with the creators of the chaos, Shurtion, consciousnessless, transcendent, and purity great Tao worlds. They are the strongest existences and stand above all living beings. If the chaos is destroyed, they can also revive all living beings with a flip of their hand. However, if I appear again, that means they are dead. Next is you. No one can save you then. Hanju's voice echoed in the void and in the dreams of all living beings. All living beings began to pray that the five transcendent existences must win. Hanju disappeared. Primordial despair's aura soared and became even more violent. Its long tongue swept out for countless kilometers and swept away hundreds of worlds and more than 10 great Tao sages. Li Daokong, Long Hao, and Morochu went to the top of primordial despair and prepared to save Su Qi. However, they could not move him no matter how many spells they cast. Su Qi and Zhou Song's great Tao heaven seemed to have fused with primordial despair and could not be separated. How can this be? Li Daokong was moved. He hated him and wanted to extract Su Qi's soul and give up his body, but he couldn't do it. The Dark Forbidden Lord's power not only sealed Su Qi but also protected him. Su Qi smiled bitterly. Give up. You should think of a way to kill primordial despair. I will naturally be saved when the Dark Forbidden Lord dies. Li Daokong and the other two did not insist, and immediately moved out. Zhou Song sighed. Your hidden sect is really united. They tried to save Su Qi several times, but no one cared about him. Su Qi smiled. Do you want to join us? I can introduce you. After so many years, they could not escape or cultivate. They could only chat and build a good friendship. Depends. Zhou Song sighed, his eyes filled with worry. Primordial despair became stronger after the Dark Forbidden Lord left. After obtaining the power of the Lord, it was definitely invincible now. If a Tao creator did not appear, no one would be its match. It was useless to attack. Together, countless Emperor soldiers, Divine Authority generals, and Destruction Authority generals were like a torrent restraining primordial despair's attention. Even so, the great Tao sages couldn't do anything to it. The pressure of the battle became stronger and stronger, causing the space at the edge of the chaos to begin to collapse. The River of Destiny and the River of Space-Time appeared and twisted with the 3,000 great Tao, ready to be destroyed at any time. Outside the chaos, in the blank domain, the five Tao creators stood side by side. The ninth chaos was in the middle. A black shadow appeared in front of them. With every step, the black shadow doubled in size and quickly surpassed all the Tao creators. The chaotic consciousness, the formless transcendent deity, Shurtion's immeasurable destruction venerable, and the yin-yang purity nirvana deity felt immense pressure. Even the ninth chaos had a heavy heart. It was so close, but he still couldn't see through the other party. He didn't understand where the other party got the guts to challenge them. Could it be that he had already surpassed the Tao Creator realm? This quickly appeared in the ninth chaos mind. Could it be that the Dark Forbidden Lord had existed longer than him and had only been hiding? It was not impossible. Otherwise, why couldn't he sense the Dark Forbidden Lord's rise? One had to know that the other Tao creators had not sensed his existence before. The more ninth chaos thought about it, the more uneasy he became. It had been a long time since he felt this way. There was no point in thinking about this now. He could only fight it. Disdain in his heart and stared at the Dark Forbidden Lord with all his attention. Dark Forbidden Lord, it's not too late to turn back now. Tion's immeasurable destruction Venerable shouted in a low voice. He panicked, but with so many Tao creators around him and the ninth chaos, he felt that his chances of winning were still quite high. Since ancient times, the Tao creators had never joined forces. This battle would definitely be recorded in the annals of history. Hanju looked at them and smiled. I've been looking forward to this battle for a long time. Why would I turn back? With that, darkness spread to the entire blank domain with him as the center. In the blink of an eye, the blank domain fell into absolute darkness. Red flames burned around Hanju, causing him to appear in the darkness. The 5 Tao creators were moved. What method was this? They could sense that they couldn't escape this darkness. In other words, they could only fight the most hot-tempered yin-yang purity. Nirvana deity was the first to attack. He flashed behind Hanju, and the endless power of space and time drowned the latter, pulling him into the spatial vortex. The other Tao creators attacked one after another. The chaotic consciousness transformed into the figure of the destruction Authority General. This destruction Authority General had 9 eyes and an extremely terrifying aura. With a punch, his dermic powers condensed into a crimson ball of light that was like the sun and collided with Han. The formless transcendent deity drew out the door with his hand. The door quickly rose and opened. The wind of time that was enough to destroy the chaos swept out. In the wind were countless shadows. They were all Tao seekers from ancient times. Tion's immeasurable destruction Venerable condensed a huge hand again and pressed down on him. The ninth chaos appeared in front of Hanju. The two of them stood facing each other, one big and one small. They were extremely close. A terrifying aura erupted. In an instant, endless afterimages burst out, as if countless Dark Forbidden Lords and the ninth chaos were fighting. They shattered the spatial turbulence and severed the huge wind, crushing Tion's huge hand. Hanju deliberately suppressed his cultivation to the Tao Creator realm to enjoy the fight. But even so, he quickly suppressed the ninth chaos. Boom! The ninth chaos body was shattered by countless shadows. The figures were reversed as if they had fallen into an endless abyss. The ninth chaos was the strongest Tao creator, after all. He pulled out a wooden sword from above his head with his right hand. This wooden sword seemed to be made of bones. He waved the sword and slashed. Billions of vitality burst out. Countless trees, surging waves, and layers of mountains scattered the shadows that filled the sky and collided with Hanju. The yin-yang purity Nirvana deity descended from above. Transcendent rule condensed under his feet and formed a dazzling light. However, before he could step on Hanju's head, it was blocked by an invisible force. The chaotic consciousness, the formless transcendent deity, Tion's immeasurable destruction Venerable, and the yin-yang purity Nirvana destruction deity were no threat to Hanju at all. His opponent was still mainly the ninth chaos. it had to be said that the ninth chaos was indeed very strong. It was much stronger than the yin-yang purity nirvana deity. After suppressing his cultivation realm, Hanju's dermic powers were actually still higher than the Tao creator. Even so, he couldn't easily suppress the ninth chaos. Hanju didn't use the mystical power exclusive to the divine might heavenly sage. He only used the rules to fight. It was the same for the ninth chaos. To them, mystical powers were only for show. The true core was the rules themselves. Hanju suddenly stopped. His body shook and he broke through the spatial turbulence of the yin-yang purity nirvana deity. 7 supreme rules condensed into 7 dragons of different postures that coiled around his body. There were 9 supreme rules in the ultimate origin world, but he only used 7 in order not to expose his identity. There were 7 Tao creators. 7 was enough to deal with the ninth chaos. The ninth chaos raised his hand and grabbed at the void. He actually extracted the 7 supreme rules around Hanju and squeezed them into his palm. Then, he struck out. A terrifying pressure overturned the other 4 Tao creators. Hanju appeared behind the ninth chaos and turned into darkness to devour it. In an instant, Hanju pulled the ninth chaos into an endless dream and experienced billions of lifetimes. When the ninth chaos broke through the dark dream, the other 4 Tao creators had just stabilized themselves. Hanju fought very happily. The ninth chaos didn't disappoint him. According to his estimation, he, who was at the perfected Tao creator realm, needed 1% of a breath of time to kill the ninth chaos. If it was the yin-yang purity nirvana deity, he could insta-kill him 10 million times. Of course, this was only killing, not destroying. The Tao creator could revive infinitely. Victory and defeat were never decided by life and death. Seeing the ninth chaos being killed by Hanju one after another, the 4 Tao creators were shocked. So the Dark Forbidden Lord had really surpassed the ninth chaos. They couldn't care less. They had to continue fighting even if they had to stall for time. Hanju could naturally think of their plan. Unfortunately, this plan was wrong. The endless era could only be led by the Creator Lord. In the depths of the chaos, the violent primordial despair began to rampage in the chaos. Countless figures followed closely behind it. Countless mystical powers and great Tao smashed into it, but they couldn't slow it down. Size of its eye. Boom! Han Huang collided with primordial despair and hugged its mouth with both hands to prevent it from opening it. At this moment, Han Huang, who had transformed into the primordial fiend Celestial, was also peerlessly majestic. Only he dared to act recklessly. Primordial despair clearly remembered him and was unwilling to hurt him. Primordial despair's 18 eyes landed on Han Huang, revealing a puzzled expression. Han Huang was stunned when he saw its gaze. Primordial despair suddenly shook his head and sent Han Huang flying after being stunned for a moment. Primordial despair's intelligence was still too low. It was now instinctively excited. In its eyes, this was a gluttonous feast. Speaking of which, primordial despair was only following the orders he had arranged and did not betray him. However, its stance on this matter had changed, but it did not understand. A sword light that illuminated the heavens descended, wanting to cut primordial despair into 2. However, the light of negative karma shot out from one of primordial despair's eyes and easily destroyed it. Li Daokong frowned, his eyes filled with anger. He thought highly of himself, but this battle had been fought for a long time. All his attacks had failed. At this moment, a voice sounded, "Li Daokong, we have a way." Li Daokong turned around and saw that Dao Sovereign and the other two who had been sent into the spatial turbulence by the Dark Forbidden Lord had returned. What way? Li Daokong frowned. Dao Sovereign sent him. A voice transmission, causing his expression to change drastically. He did not answer immediately. Instead, he fell into a dilemma, his expression changing. Jiang Yi asked impatiently, "How is it? Have you decided?" The battle was still ongoing. There was not so much time for them to be conflicted. Li Daokong looked at primordial despair. The 9 great chaos were once again reduced to ashes by primordial despair's long tongue. "All right, I agree." Li Daokong gritted his teeth. "Dao Sovereign," nodded. Then, the 4 of them gathered and meditated facing each other. They began to cast spells to place a formation. Their auras reached a unified state. No one was stronger or weaker. The battlefield was chaotic. Some were fighting, some were recuperating, and some were afraid, so no one cared about them. The main group of the Chaos and Primordial Chaos had been closely following Primordial Despair. In the distance, the cultivators of the various factions were scattering the various worlds along the way. Many mortals could not react in time and were taken away by their Dharma treasures. This was an unprecedented calamity that targeted all living beings indiscriminately. At this moment, no matter which corner, no matter how low a mortal was, they would terrified as long as they had intelligence. All sorts of civilizations were suffering the despair of the Dark Forbidden Lord's dream. Technology civilization, slave civilization, cultivation civilization, alternate deity civilization, high martial civilization, and so on became extremely weak in this calamity. Hanling blocked in front of primordial despair. Countless emperor soldiers flew out from the endless divine light behind her. Primordial despair's eyes landed on her. He suddenly stopped just as he stuck out his tongue. Primordial despair was stunned for a moment before looking at the other living beings. He waved his tongue and swept away several great Dao sages. Hanling frowned under her mask. She sensed that something was wrong. This was not the first time. Primordial despair almost hurt her a few times but stopped in time. Why was that? Could it be that he had a portion of Han Huang's will? No one knew how Han Huang created primordial despair, and he was unwilling to say. Boom! A terrifying pressure came, startling all the living beings. Even primordial despair stopped and slowly turned around. Dao Sovereign, Zhao Xinyuan, Jiang Yi, and Li Daokong meditated facing each other. Bodies emitted a strong light, forming a huge pillar that connected the supreme rules. The pillar of light was like a crack in the door that was slowly opening. There, a terrifying figure appeared in the pillar of light. What's that? Ji Xianshan was surprised. He felt the power of space and time. He suddenly thought of something and his expression changed drastically. Could it be that fellow? How did he find Dao Sovereign and the other 3? Ji Xianshan was puzzled. How lively! I still caught up to this battle that established the endless era. A cold voice sounded with a hint of madness. The sudden arrival of the mysterious expert made the entire battlefield silent. That terrifying aura made them think of the Dao creator who had attacked earlier. Another Dao creator above the great Dao. Which side did he belong to? The mighty figures heaved a sigh of relief when they saw Dao Sovereign and the other 3. It was an ally. Li Daokong looked up and asked in a low voice, "Are you sure he's helping us?" Those words gave him a bad feeling. Dao Sovereign said, "Yes, it should be." Should? Li Daogong's expression instantly darkened. The pillar of light became larger and larger, and the mysterious expert's figure was also revealed more and more. From his figure, he was probably in human form. He was extremely majestic and was even larger than the 3 primordial fiend celestials present. For the first time, primordial despair was filled with fear. He roared at the mysterious expert in a low voice as his 18 eyes stared in the same direction. Soon, a man in silver armor and a miniature world above his head stepped out. He was handsome and dignified. Countless divine weapons of different sizes and forms floated behind him. As he stepped forward, the silver pieces on the armor swayed and emitted a soul-stirring sound. The weak cultivators were all entranced and their consciousness fell into chaos. All the living beings watching the battle in the dream were fine. With Hanju's power isolating them, this silver-armored man was not enough to threaten them. I am Heavenly Venerate Sun. Remember my name. I am here to save you. The silver-armored man said proudly, looking down on primordial despair. He raised his palm and struck. Countless divine weapons soared into the sky and drew countless beautiful arcs in the dark void. It was like a sea of stars descending. It was unstoppable and extremely fast. All of them landed on primordial despair, causing him to wail. For the first time, cracks appeared on primordial despair's surface. Blood flowed out like a chaotic sea, looking abnormally miserable. Tao Creator! Han Huang stared at Heavenly Venerate Sun and clenched his fists. Another Tao Creator! How many Tao Creators were hidden in the chaos? He wasn't the only one. The other mighty figures standing at the top of the chaos also had mixed emotions. Thinking back, they suddenly felt ashamed. They thought that they were invincible. Even if there were opponents, they couldn't surpass them much. They did not expect. Heavenly Venerate Sun's attack was extremely domineering, causing primordial despair's body to begin to dismember. This pleasantly surprised all living beings. The chaos was saved? Primordial despair felt the pain and towards Heavenly Venerate Sun. Its aura was still increasing. Heavenly Venerate Sun looked surprised and immediately said disdainfully, the power of a Tao Creator. No wonder. However, your body can't withstand such a powerful force. You will die today no matter what you are. Heavenly Venerate Sun raised his right hand, and strong light burst out from it. The river of spacetime surged out with the light. This river condensed into a divine staff. The top was like a crescent moon and its body was like a tree root cast from molten iron. The divine staff hung upside down and blasted towards primordial despair. Spacetime took the form of a silver-colored torrent and drowned primordial despair with an unstoppable domineering force. In the torrent, primordial despair's body dried up at a speed visible to the naked eye, as if it was rapidly aging. Soon, only skin and bones were left, looking extremely terrifying. All living beings were overjoyed. Was he going? At this moment, primordial despair's flesh began to recover. His recovery speed was even faster than before. In less than 2 breaths of time, primordial despair recovered to his peak and his aura was even stronger. Roar! Primordial despair roared and spat out a terrifying black pillar of light. It dispersed the spatial torrent and attacked Heavenly Venerate Sun. Heavenly Venerate Sun frowned and raised his left hand to block this force. I underestimated you. Heavenly Venerate Sun snorted and used his mystical power again. The mighty figures of the entire battlefield retreated and handed primordial despair to Heavenly Venerate Sun. Why was this happening? The existence he created was actually stronger than him. Even if he had obtained the power of the Dark Forbidden Lord, why had he increased so much in such a short period of time? Could it be that the Tao creator was really a natural chasm? As long as he crossed it, he could look down on all the realms below? In the blank domain, in the dark domain, covered by the power of the Lord, the chaotic consciousness, the formless transcendent deity, Shurtion's immeasurable, destruction venerable, and the yin-yang purity nirvana deity were all wrapped in the black aura and bound into a row, unable to move. They could only look at the ninth chaos fighting the dark forbidden lord. However, the situation was not optimistic. The dark forbidden lord was high and mighty. His right hand grabbed the void and used endless mystical powers from afar. All sorts of dark mystical powers he had temporarily created landed on the ninth chaos. The ninth chaos had already been destroyed countless times and was still fighting bitterly. At this point, the ninth chaos had already given up on defeating Hanju. He only wanted to stall for time and give the chaos a chance. The power of the Creator Lord transformed into countless black heavenly pillars and descended, suppressing the ninth chaos. The ninth chaos soul dissipated and condensed. Again, attacking Hanju from behind. The power of the seven supreme rules condensed in the ninth chaos palms into an extremely strong force. A strong light burst out and countless great Tao runes exploded, drowning Hanju. In the next second, the strong light and great Tao runes shrank and landed in Hanju's hand. He could crush the power of the seven supreme rules at any time. The ninth chaos was shocked. He must have broken through. He was definitely not a Tao creator. The ninth chaos stopped at this moment. Hanju asked teasingly, "Why did you stop?" The ninth chaos asked in a low voice, "Have you already surpassed the Tao creator realm?" "That's right." Hanju didn't hide anything. At this point, there was no need to. The ninth chaos was silent. Hanju smiled. "If you give up, your chaos will die. You will also die." The ninth chaos indeed panicked, but he was still thinking of a way. "You can kill me, but let all the living beings in the chaos go," the ninth chaos said in a low voice. The four Tao creators were shocked, not daring to believe that the ninth chaos would bow its head, surpassing a Tao creator. They were also in despair. No wonder they couldn't defeat the dark Forbidden Lord even after they joined forces. Why was this happening? Who was the dark Forbidden Lord? Hanju smiled. "The chaos must be destroyed." "You!" The ninth chaos was furious. He hated the dark Forbidden Lord, to begin with. Seeing how domineering he was, he no longer had any illusions and immediately attacked. Hanju stopped pretending and raised his hand. The power of the Creator Lord. The ninth chaos and said coldly,